Donald Trump's planned nomination of Todd Blanche to permanently fill the role of Attorney General and his announcement of Bill Pulte as the next acting director of national intelligence are being cited by critics as evidence that Trump is placing loyalists in charge of the government's most powerful investigative and intelligence agencies, further blurring the line between presidential political interests and traditionally independent institutions. As an example, this week, Blanche spoke about how he is working to install, quote, roadblocks to prevent Democrats from prosecuting Trump and his associates in the future.
Well, do I believe it's a possibility that the Democrats will go after President Trump, his family, anybody that knows him, anybody that worked for him? I think they've proven that to be true. And what can we do about it is we can just keep on exposing. When we learn about the weaponization that happened for many years, we can keep on exposing it and putting roadblocks in place so it never happens again.
Oh, man. Joining us now, Barbara McQuade, former U.S. Attorney in Michigan, MS Now legal analyst, and most importantly, author of the new book, The Fix, Saving America from the Corruption of a Mob-Style Government. Barb, welcome back to The Weekend. Congratulations on the book. Your reaction to the acting Attorney General, now nominated to be the Attorney General of the United States, who is supposed to be the lawyer for the government, for the people, saying that they're going to institute roadblocks to prevent holding the president accountable if necessary.
Yes. You know, I know this word gets overused a lot, but the word that comes to my mind is gaslighting. He is absolutely fabricating claims that the Department of Justice and the last administration engaged in weaponization. And the proof of that is that Donald Trump was charged with crimes. Maybe he was charged with crimes because he committed crimes. But I do worry that we now have a former Trump personal lawyer in charge of the Justice Department. Those should be adverse parties. Instead, we've got the same lawyer on both sides. And I worry that he has the ability to do that. One of the things they could do is destroy the evidence. Jack Smith amassed evidence of election interference and of unlawful retention of government documents. And without, the video footage and documents and witness testimony, some of that could all disappear. And so he now has the power from the inside to do just that.
Barbara, I want to get to actually your book while we're on this topic of sort of Trump's unilateral takeover of the government. And I'm going to read an excerpt quickly. Like the head of a crooked political machine or criminal organization, Trump uses power not just to lead, but to dominate. He makes threats or applies pain to his targets, forcing them to beg for mercy. And once they accede to his power, he controls them. This is a book about power, how it is acquired, how it is abused, and how we, the people, can take it back. You describe how the administration acts similar to that of an organized crime organization. From your professional experience, can you talk a little bit about how people actually go about taking power back from mob-style government?
Yes. So, the mobster seeks to isolate, to intimidate, and to silence their critics. They do this by using the levers of power that they have available to them to inflict pain. I'm going to threaten you. I'm going to harm you. I'm going to take the thing that you value most in this world, and then I'm going to coerce you to come to the table to negotiate your own punishment. We've seen that with law firms, with universities, with foreign allies, and we see it with members of Congress. This idea of I'm going to call you out on social media, I'm going to fund your primary opponent, and I'm going to make you lose your job. I think the way to combat and counter those kinds of strategies is by banding together. That isolation tactic only works if we let it. And so if we work together with collective action and say, we're going to stand up to this and we're not going to accept it. We're already seeing some cracks in the armor, I think, with some members of Congress, but not enough. The law firms who caved to President Trump, I think, realized that what they did was not the right thing. And the ones who came together and fought those executive orders, they've won. And so I think collective action and using our voices, refusing to be silenced, is the way to combat this kind of mob-style government.
Yeah, and one of the things that has been interesting I think, to all of us is the impacts this has on how people think about folks like you, lawyers, right? People who used to work at the DOJ. Judges are now writing in their rulings that DOJ lawyers are being dishonest with the court. Like, as a former U.S. attorney, what happens inside a prosecutor's office? What happens to the rule of law when judges are saying the people who are supposed to tell the truth, who are paid to tell the truth, who can be sanctioned and all types of things, if they do not tell the truth, you are lying and we can't trust you? What does that do to everything?
Yeah, as a former federal prosecutor, spent 20 years of my career at the Justice Department, it's really painful to see this happen, but it's understandable that the judges feel this way after they have been burned so many times by Justice Department lawyers who were misleading, didn't share information, or outright lied to a court or failed to obey a court order. When I served as a prosecutor, I was told, and then I told others who came along after me, when you walk into court and you say your name on behalf of the United States, you will have credibility instantly that you did not earn. And your job is to make sure you carry that forward, because decades of prosecutors who came before you are the ones who earned that by being honest with the court, by being candid, by fronting out the bad facts in their cases. And so not to lose that presumption of regularity means it's going to be harder for prosecutors to win cases. And maybe in some instances that's okay if they're not being truthful. But I worry that going forward, even when we have an honorable Justice Department, whether it's a Republican or Democratic administration, they're still not going to have that presumption of regularity. And that means when prosecutors come into court or witnesses testify or genuine cases need to be indicted before a grand jury, there will be skepticism. And as a result, there will be bad actors who are not held accountable. There will be a loss of public safety because people who have violated the law will not be held accountable.